If you are buying a laptop in 2026, the biggest mistake is not choosing the wrong processor. It is choosing the wrong brand line. Because right now, there are laptops that look premium, sound premium, and are priced like premium machines, but the moment you actually use them, the cracks show up fast. Bad battery, weak screens, poor value, flimsy builds, software headaches, and in some cases, support that makes a bad purchase even worse. So in this video, I'm going through 7 laptop brands or laptop lines I would avoid in 2026, and 5 that are actually worth your money. And one important note before we start, when I say brand in this video, I'm talking about the laptop family most people actually buy from that brand, not every single machine that company has ever made. Here's the rule I used for this list. I looked at 4 things: real battery life, real value, repair or ownership experience, and model-specific problems. So this is not a fanboy ranking. This is a buyer protection list. Acer's cheap Aspire-Go class. Now, Acer makes some solid laptops, but the Aspire-Go 15 is exactly the kind of machine that tricks people. It looks like a sensible budget buy, and on paper the price seems fine. But Tom's Guide called it underwhelming, with weak performance for anything beyond basics, disappointing battery life, and obvious cost cutting. So if you just need email and documents, sure, it can survive. But if you want something that still feels good 6 months from now, this is where false savings begin. HP's low-end consumer laptops, especially the Laptop 14/Pavilion style tier. This is one of the biggest trap zones in the entire market. TechRadar's review of the HP Laptop 14 basically says the cheap version is too weak, and the stronger versions are too expensive for what they give you. The review also calls out cheap-feeling materials and a USB-C port that can't even properly handle charging and external display duties. That is classic low-end HP consumer strategy. Make the first impression look clean, then quietly compromise the stuff that actually affects daily use. If you are buying HP, I would much rather spend up into the better classes than buy the bottom shelf. MC's budget gaming class, especially Cyborg and thin style machines. This is where a lot of buyers get baited by the words gaming laptop and a decent looking spec sheet. But the cheap MC gaming machines often ask you to accept too many trade-offs at once. TechRadar's Mi Cyborg 15 review says the price is eye-catching, but performance is subpar, battery life is poor, and the display lid feels flimsy. And that's the problem. If you are already accepting heat, fan noise, and gaming laptop bulk, the machine needs to deliver. If it doesn't, you're just buying the look of a gaming laptop, not the actual value of one. LG's GramBook. Important distinction. I am not talking about every gram. I am talking about the GramBook budget tier. TechRadar went after this one hard. Under 7 hours of battery life. Spongy keyboard. Weak touchpad. And the worst part is the value, because the review directly compares it against better alternatives and basically says LG missed the point. That makes this a bad kind of budget product. Not cheap enough to excuse its flaws. Not good enough to justify its price. Microsoft Surface for value-sensitive buyers. Now this one needs nuance. Surface has improved. Repairability is better than it used to be. But the 2026 value story got uglier. Tom's Guide reports Microsoft quietly raised Surface pricing, with some flagships up by $500, to the point that comparable MacBook Air pricing now looks better. Then you have the ARM complication. Tom's Hardware reported Amazon flagged the Snapdragon Surface Laptop 7 as a frequently returned item, with compatibility friction being a likely reason. So, Surface is not bad. It is just too expensive to be the safe recommendation it used to try to be. Samsung's Galaxy Book line, especially Galaxy Book 4 Edge style buys. Samsung laptops are often attractive, thin, and easy to love in a store. But I do not love the risk profile. The Guardian's review of the Galaxy Book 4 Edge says performance is good, but battery life doesn't live up to the premium positioning, and the value only makes real sense if you're deeply invested in Samsung's ecosystem. Then there's the bigger warning sign. Tom's Hardware documented the Galaxy Connect issue that caused some Galaxy Book 4 users to lose access to their C drive, serious enough that Microsoft published recovery steps and the app had to be pulled. That's exactly the kind of ownership surprise I don't want attached to a premium-priced laptop. Razer Blade. Razer makes some of the best-looking laptops on the market. That is not the problem. The problem is that the price is stratospheric, and once you charge premium money, the margin for error disappears. Wired's Blade 16 review shows how extreme the pricing gets, with configurations running from around $3,000 all the way into $4,500 territory. And then PC Gamer pulled together the ugly part: reports around trackpads, keyboards, synapse issues, and poor customer support. That combination is brutal. Expensive is fine. Expensive and risky is not. So those are the laptop lines I would be careful with. Now let's flip it. Here are 5 that are actually worth it. Asus, specifically the ZenBook line. Not every Asus laptop. The ZenBook line. Wired ZenBook 14 old review says it delivers good performance for the price and excellent battery life, pushing past 15 hours in testing. That's what I want from a value Windows laptop: solid daily performance, strong endurance, and no fake premium gimmick. If you want a Windows alternative that feels like it's trying to earn its price, ZenBook is one of the better bets. Dell, specifically the new XPS class. Dell had a rough patch, but the new XPS 14 looks like a real correction. Tom's Guide calls it a comeback and says Dell finally made an XPS it can recommend without stacking caveats on top. The Verge also says the redesign fixes major complaints and reports up to 14 hours of battery life on the IPS model. That's a strong sign. When a premium Windows laptop stops fighting its own design and starts acting like a mature product, it becomes worth paying attention to again. Lenovo, specifically ThinkPad X and T-Class. This is where Lenovo separates itself from its cheaper stuff. The newest ThinkPad X1 family was redesigned with better cooling and easier repairs in mind, and multiple reports say Lenovo pushed repairability way up, with a 9 out of 10 iFixit score being cited for the latest X1 models. That matters, because serious buyers need more than benchmark numbers. They need a machine that can survive real work, real travel, and real ownership. If you want a dependable workhorse, ThinkPad still earns its reputation. Framework. Framework is the most honest laptop company in this list. Their own site openly gives you what most brands try to hide: parts, batteries, screens, guides, firmware downloads, driver bundles, and step-by-step repair docs. Tom's Guide flat out treats the Framework Laptop 13 as the best repairable laptop and says it's as good as advertised. That does not mean it is for everyone. If you hate tinkering, you may not care. But if you want ownership, longevity, and upgrade freedom, Framework is the cleanest answer in the market. Apple, especially the MacBook Air. Yes, Apple is still the safest all-around pick for a lot of people. Tom's Guide ranks the MacBook Air M5 as the best overall laptop in 2026, pointing to strong performance, longer battery life, and a better base configuration than before. And unlike the old stereotype, Apple now also provides self-service repair access for Mac laptops, with repair manuals and genuine parts. So no, Apple is not the repairability king. Framework owns that lane. But if you want the best mix of battery, stability, polish, and low-regret ownership, MacBook Air is still the benchmark. Before you buy any laptop in 2026, do this. Make sure it has 16 GB of RAM minimum. Make sure you've seen a real battery test, not just the manufacturer estimate. Check whether the SSD or battery is realistically replaceable. Look at the display quality, especially brightness and color. And if it is an ARM Windows machine, double-check your app compatibility before paying premium money. So the short version is this: avoid the machines that only look good in product photos. Be careful with cheap Acer Aspires, low-end HP consumer laptops, budget MC Gaming, LG GramBook, premium-priced Surface buys, Galaxy Books with extra ecosystem risk, and Razer's overpriced support gamble. And if you want the safer bets, start with Asus ZenBook, Dell XPs, Lenovo ThinkPad, Framework, and Apple MacBook Air.